huge new Marvel Snap update just released. And I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't usually happen, at least as far as I can remember, in a European friendly time zone. So I figured I'd jump straight in and bring you these crazy updates because I haven't had a proper look yet, but it looks like it's a significant pad. So firstly, and most importantly to a lot of people, the next series drop has happened. I'm about to open a bunch of boxes to celebrate, but moving down from Series 5 to Series 4, Silver Surfer, so if you never bought that season pass, you can get your hands on that now more easily. Knull, Darkhawk, and Sentry. Moving from Series 4 to Series 3, Agent Coulson, Maria Hill, and Hellicarrier. Unfortunately, I happen to have opened all of those as Series 4 drops myself, so that's sort of the downside to this, is that sometimes you will just get screwed by bad RNG if you open a Series 4 card and then it gets dropped. But I think the point is all cards are going to drop eventually anyway, so whenever you get lucky and get a cool new card, it is limited time. And then everyone's going to get it, which is great. I'm thrilled that these series drops are happening because it means that more people are going to get their hands on more cards, which should mean that the meta gets more varied, which is something I've been complaining about in my most recent video. More people with more cards should mean more variety and hopefully more fun for everyone playing Marvel Snap. Series 5 and Series 4 cards also now have shared rotation protection in the token shop. I think the main result of this is going to be that the new Series 5 card that launches every week is more likely to appear in your shop, because you're not going to get that issue where it just keeps rotating through Series 4 and never showing you the one Series 5 card that you haven't had access to yet. Because if Series 4 and Series 5 have shared rotation protection, then in theory that means you will see the whole of Series 5 and the whole of Series 4 before you start to see them loop again, which again, it should mean new cards come up more frequently. Because think about it, if you've got Series 3 completed, then the only cards that will show up in your token shop are either Series 4, Series 5, which again is one clump, or if you get lucky or unlucky, depending on your point of view, you'll get the ultimate variants. Added a confirmation dialogue when purchasing season pass levels. Yeah, this is actually a huge update too. My housemate, I know as a fact, has accidentally purchased season pass levels before. He's pretty clumsy. Not the first time he's done something he regrets in a video game, but it's just a good change. Tapping the credits or god icon of the stream will navigate you to the shop. Sure, yeah, why not? It's good to change as any. FX faster. FX to claws ability, notification when you try to discard your hand's empty, animation for rickety bridge liquor. I mean, all of this stuff's good. Mysterio's illusions will now use your Mysterios. Thank goodness! I have been complaining about this for months. What a huge change. Thank you, Second Dinner. This is great. Should have always been like this in the first place. But for those of you that don't know, Mysterio, whenever you played the card, would automatically go back to the original version. It would never show you your variants in game. This is great. Now, this looks like a huge change as well. Balance patch. Finally, stuff is changing. Hopefully the meta changes at least a little bit. I'm so bored of playing Shuri into Big Thing into Arnim Zola. Darkhawk has had its base power reduced from 1 to 0. It's not going to make a huge difference. It's literally a -1 power nerf, but let's see what the devs had to say about it. Darkhawk is an especially powerful card. As we prepared the balance change before Silver Surfer and Zabu nerfs went live, we didn't want to hit him too hard. However, we definitely felt that knocking off at least 1 power from him is warranted, and we will continue to monitor his performance. Okay, so I can't decide if this is a good thing or a bad thing that Second Dinner have a habit of doing, which is just like adjusting cards extremely gently, like the tiniest, deftest touch. I don't think that nerfing Darkhawk's power by 1 is going to make any significant difference. I don't think it's going to be enough, and I think that Darkhawk's probably going to have to be changed again. I'd love to be proven wrong, obviously, but that is my gut instinct on that. Thanos buff it's so important, I think. The Thanos decks have typically only really been good because of the stones. I don't think there have ever really been any significant Thanos strategies that actually revolve around getting Thanos out with his buff, but I think having him get buffed to 21 power is going to be a huge change. So yeah, buffing Thanos from 8 power to 11 power is huge, because before he would go from 8 to 18 when you got all the stones out. 18 power is like rarely enough to win a lane on its own. Like, it's only, if you think about it, a little bit stronger than Destroyer and Agatha, etc. But going to 21 power, 1 card, 21 power, that is likely enough to win the lane. It could also do some crazy things with Arnim Zola. And in short, I do think that Thanos is going to be... I mean, Thanos has already been getting more and more significant in the meta recently, but because of the stones, not because of the big man himself. This is going to be really fun to watch. And I'm excited to embrace our new Overlord. Let's take a look at what the devs had to say about Thanos. We think Thanos is one of the coolest cards, and we're a bit sad that he himself, this is what I'm saying, isn't played too often. Most Thanos decks focus primarily on making good use of the stones, but we want to make sure that the Mad Titan himself has enough perspective. It's great. Great change. Really, really positive. Sandman going from a 4-1 to a 5-5. Let's take a look at that. Wow, look at that. That is significantly different and is going to entice different strategy. So now Sandman is only going to block your opponent from playing 2 cards, usually for the 1 turn, for the final turn, but he's going to be a better play. It's going to take less for you to sort of make up for the tempo that you spent to play Sandman, but also, I guess, probably more to the point, if you can now play Electro on turn 3, Sandman on turn 4, then your opponent does get the debuff for the last 2 turns, and you've played a big thing, and you can follow that up with 2 other big things. I really think an Electro into Sandman strategy is going to be real from now on, and this is probably the first deck I'm excited to try. Imagine like Electro into Sandman, into Ronan, into... I don't know, I want to see what else is getting nerfed and buffed, but this really should be shaking up the meta. I'm so excited about this change. And all of these changes so far. Let's see what the devs had to say. Many of the strongest decks right now have strategies centered around playing multiple cards in turn 6. Sandman should be a good answer to these decks, but he didn't quite have the sand to stand up to them with his previous stat line. We're giving him a bit more power to make him a more competitive card, but subsequently bumping up his cost. It doesn't mention the Electro thing, but that has to be a significant part of the thought process. The cards below are rather weak at the moment, so we're giving them a small buff to help them perform a little bit better. Spider-Woman, Namor, Dagger. Each of those is getting 1 extra power. Dagger actually is not weak in move decks. I don't know how many of you have played move decks. I made a whole video about it months ago. I think move decks are fascinating and really fun. I don't think changing Dagger's power by 1 is going to be enough to make move decks more viable, or Dagger itself more viable, but again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. Namor, yeah, it needs a debuff. I don't know that 1 power buff is going to be enough to make much of a difference here, but I guess it would be fun if we do start seeing Namor appear in more decks. Namor just isn't really a card that makes much sense to play in most decks, because when do you ever want to like play a big thing on turn 4 while also broadcasting to your opponent, this is how much power I'm playing in this location for the rest of the game? Obviously there's ways around that. You could play Claw, you could play Mr. Fantastic, you could play any number of things that buffs the lane without having to play cards in there. But I just think generally Namor doesn't make that much sense to play, whereas Orca is sort of a much better Namor. But yeah, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Spider-Woman, however, I think will make a difference. Spider-Woman is like close to being good enough to play in some decks already, like in Lockjaw decks and that kind of thing. Now I think Spider-Woman having 1 extra power, although typically I don't think that the single power buffs and nerfs make much of a difference, I actually think Spider-Woman could be the case where it does make enough of a difference, because I think she was barely not good enough to play before, and I think now she might be. Text on the update to Yondu, destroy the top card of your opponent's deck. What did it say before? Remove the top card of your opponent's deck? But that makes sense because now it shows that it's interacting with death, and it shows that it interacts with Knull. And they also explain why it doesn't interact with Colossus and Wolverine, which is good. As an ongoing effect to improve the card location and text, we've adjusted everything that currently says when you play a card to say after you play a card instead. This makes it clearer. These abilities trigger once the card's been fully played, including its on-reveal effects. None of these are functional changes. Angela Bishop, Iron Fist, Logjawr, Titania. Cool. Sakar, location change. After this turn, put a card from each player's hand here. I think that's a shame. I actually agree with the dev point there where Sakar is super unique, and I think that making it so, like, some of my favorite games in Marvel Snap have been turn 1, Sakar reveal, and boom, both players get a card pulled out of the hand. And I guess it's still going to be similar. Like if this happens at the end of the turn, the same thing's going to happen, just with a little bit more warning. I guess that's not a bad change. And I guess I can understand why they've done it. Storm and Wave do have weird interaction with Sakar because they activate immediately, but then like the effect lasts an extra turn. So like you play Storm immediately, you get the flooding for this turn and also the next turn. If it pulls Wave out immediately, Wave's effect makes everything cost 4 the current turn and also for the following turn. So I get how it's weird interactions and I get why they'd want to change that. But yeah, I'm kind of so on that change. And text only changes to all of this too. Absorbing Man's been fixed so that it works with Wong and Odin. That's really good. They fixed the carousel on PC. Moved the Pro Bundle to the bottom of the shop. I guess because it's a permanent thing and some people just might not want it. That's a good change just to get it out of the way. Yeah, there you go. It's at the bottom now. Fast forward VFX. Just skimming the rest, I'm not seeing anything that really jumps out to me. But I will say that this is a lot of changes. This is a hefty patch, and there's still a lot of known issues. But that's fine. I really appreciate the transparency from the devs here. All in all, I think this is a really great update. I know I skimmed over the art and visual effects before, but all of the locations having sound effects and visual effects and stuff like that level of polish really does make the game feel that little better to me. Arrow, when you play that, there's like a gust of wind as the card blows towards her. Like, that wasn't in the game in beta. When that got added in, it was like, oh, cool, that's a cool, nice thing. So although I sort of skimmed over these, I appreciate each and every one of them, especially the Mysterio one. I released a video yesterday talking about how I'm sort of bored of Marvel Snap right now because of the meta and the way that it is. And although I'm disappointed that Shuri still hasn't been nerfed, I think that the Sandman change in particular and the Thanos changes are gonna cause Marvel Snap to look very different to how it did before, and I'm really excited about that. Right, let's open some boxes. Just clear all of this as well. Mystery variant is Moongo. Oh, cool. I don't think I have a Moongo variant. That's nice. I gotta upgrade some cards real quick. Should we upgrade Sandman? Let's upgrade Sandman to celebrate the fact that it's been... I'd call it a buff. I'd call it a huge buff. Sandman Electro decks are absolutely going to be a thing now. I'm going to be honest. I am so excited by this update. Like, I'm so happy. I was literally just over the last few days, I've been starting to feel really sort of like unmotivated to play Marvel Snap, unmotivated to create content on it. It's partly why I took the last week or so off of content creation. I just didn't really know what I was doing, but this update has now got me wanting to play again. It's got me thinking I might have a go at streaming again and that kind of thing. I'm so excited to cast the next tournament that I get to cast whenever that is. Oh, I don't have enough boosters to go again with Sandman, so I got this Galactus in the store a few days ago. I'm gonna take that to infinity. This is a cool Moongo variant, actually. I'm pretty happy that I got it. It's one of the better ones. I also have a new video planned to release imminently within the next day or so about Stature, the new card. It's going to be more of a deep dive actually into the lore of the card. And I will look at the card and judge it as a card in Marvel Snap 2, explain why I think it might have the ability that it does and that kind of thing. But I'm planning on potentially turning that concept into a series if you guys like it. So stay tuned for that one. If you want to learn a little bit about the history of some of these Marvel characters that, personally speaking, I didn't know anything about. I found it interesting doing the research, so hopefully you enjoy it too. I'm running out of Galactus boosters. Let's finish off Shuri again. I rewatched Wakanda Forever a few days ago. Really good film, I think, at least. Like, I think I actually enjoyed it as much, if not more, than the first Black Panther myself. Hey, we got gold Shuri. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. We got to get her in 3D. I think I'm probably done upgrading Shuri. I think I'm happy with where she's at and get this one to infinity. 10 boxes, let's do it. Will today be the first time I ever open a Series 5 card? 100 collector's tokens. 200 collector's tokens. 200 gold. 100 collector's tokens. 200 gold. Chippy Rock Slide? That's really cool. 500 collector's tokens. 100 collector's tokens. Pixel Vision. All right. That one's okay. I don't think I have a Vision variant yet, so I'll take it. And 600 collector's tokens. All right. A couple variants. Can't complain about that. The Chippy Rock Slide looks real nice. And I'll take the Vision too. Is Chippy Rock Slide nicer than my Winter Vacation one? Maybe it is. Yeah, I'm gonna stop recording now and go and play the game. I'm excited to jump back in. I hope that you are too. This is the most enthused I've been to play Marvel Snap in a while. I'm gonna jump straight in with an Electro Sandman deck and see what I can come up with. Let me know what you're looking forward to play now the patch has dropped. Enjoy your new cards if you got any. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and thank you to my Patreons. I wouldn't be able to make these videos without you guys. Genuinely, I wholeheartedly appreciate the support. And if anyone else would like to go the extra mile to support my content, the link is in the description.